Hey, and welcome back to week 4, Recovering a Sense of Integrity. And this is week 4 of The Artist Way. And in this week, it is all about kind of coming into a more productive way of working. So, getting more to your productivity, but also finding ways to integrate more of your self-awareness. In this chapter, Julia first talks about honest changes, and then she has 2 exercises: buried dreams and then reading deprivation. She again writes about the importance of the artist pages and the kind of impact they can have, but also our own resistance against them and what the kind of payoff of that is. And there's a sentence that I wanted to read to you, which is: in short, extreme emotions of any kind, the very thing that morning pages are superb for processing, are the usual triggers for avoiding the pages themselves. So she reminds us that when it gets hard, in those moments, overcoming them, that is where the gold is. And I felt that this week again, because she's talked about it before, and also in this chapter, she talks about, by now you've realized I'm talking about the same thing from various different angles, which I think is very smart because the way we learn as humans and really integrate things, we need to keep repeating those informations and keep reading those informations until it's like really fully embedded in us. And that's what she's doing. And again, she's giving examples. And for myself this week, I love doing the morning pages, but I had one morning where I really didn't want to do it, but I still did it, and I ended up writing almost 4 pages because all of a sudden there was so much that I needed to get out, and that's exactly what she talks about. And I love that I read about something, and then when I come back to prepare for this video and kind of look back at my week, I'm like, oh yeah, she was talking about it this week, and this actually happened to me this week. So it's wonderful again to see that what she talks about happens in your life, and you can learn the lessons real time along, what's happening in the book. Then next, in Honest Changes, she talks about becoming original, and there's a paragraph that I wanted to read to you because I think she really says it best in the most wonderful, eloquent way possible. The more difficult truth is that creativity is grounded in reality, in the particular, the focused, the well observed, or specifically imagined. As we lose our vagueness about ourselves, our values, our life situation, we become available to the moment. It is there, in the particular, that we contact the creative self. And then she goes on to say, we become original because we become something specific, in origin from which work flows. And then she goes on to also mention that, of course, in order to become a new original self, our true self, we have to let go of our old self, the false self, and that process in itself can be traumatizing. And she just tries to write about it in a way, I think, where you feel seen and feel understood and know that what you're going through is something that one naturally goes through in the process, and that is also what helps you kind of keep going and keep proceeding with the book and keep reading. Following that, buried dreams, an exercise, and here again she tries for you to explore yourself in various different ways, and she gives a couple of examples like lists that you can write. What are 5 hobbies that you'd love to do, or what are 5 things that you would never do but actually would be so fun to do them, to just in a playful way discover what you really like, what you maybe don't like so much, and maybe do a couple of those things. And I personally found in those exercises, it's fun to write them down, but I feel a lot of resistance. And to be quite honest, I have struggled to do some of these things or pick a thing that I can pick and choose. Not to the level that I'm happy with that. And I think that for me is just a good reminder that I should carve out more space for those kind of things, because I think that's really where the fun starts, where you really rediscover yourself, and that's what this book is all about. Last but not least, reading deprivation. And this is an exercise where at the beginning of the chapter she writes, do not skip this part. So this is really important. And I think in this part it's good to highlight that the first book came out 92, 93, and in this reading deprivation she says it's like do 1 week where you don't read, so basically not to distract yourself. But of course technology has moved on, so I think you can also kind of transfer that to the digital, to social media. So I've not only took it as reading deprivation, but also like stop being on social media in terms of scrolling and stuff like that. And she says this will help you find your inner silence and get in touch with your creativity. And she says that, yeah, sometimes people come up with resistance whenever she brings this up, but it is really important not to skip this part. And this is a great segue into the tasks, because that was one of the main tasks, like not an optional task or one that you can pick and choose, but this week, again, it was the morning pages, the artist state, and then the reading deprivation. The first few days I managed to not do reading or not do scrolling, and sometimes I kind of catch myself and start opening an app. It's like, oh no, I didn't want to do that this week. But it's really interesting how like how easy you just do that. It's just like second nature. You don't really think about it, and then you start scrolling, stuff like that. But then I don't know really what happened. But then the second part of the week didn't go well, so I didn't fully succeed in doing that, and I want to keep that taking that into the next few weeks, because I think it's a very important exercise, and she does highlight it is important. And yes, getting into those moments where you actually feel bored, because in those moments where you don't really keep yourself distracted, you start feeling bored, but then boredom can you kind of develop into more creativity and figuring out a couple of things about yourself, and you face yourself and your emotions, and that can be also really hard, but on the other side of that can be a lot of reward. But yeah, I didn't fully succeed, so I have to do that exercise again this week, or I want to at least. And then the morning pages, I did them every morning. It is continuing to really help me. It's really, really interesting, and I look forward to doing them sometimes. The art estate, I went for a long walk and did a bit of bird watching, which I haven't done in a while, and it was really wonderful weather. So I really like that. And then the tasks are really, all centered around what this week is about: self awareness, about productivity. And two tasks that I really liked was one was to kind of change your environment more to ways that you enjoy. And one thing was like look at what kind of seasons of the year do you like. Do you like winter season? Do you like springtime? And find a picture online, print it out, and put it next to your place of work. But again, taking that into kind of nowadays, I basically changed the backgrounds on my phone, and I changed it to a spring background. And even something small like that was so lovely, and like made me smile every time I looked at my phone screen. And then the other one that I really enjoyed was to kind of create more space for new things to come in. And in this specific instance, it was about clothing and looking into your wardrobe and taking out some old clothing, maybe that are not really yourself, but then make room for artist outfits. And I've actually done that some time ago, and I put those clothes just like in somewhere in a corner and was like, at some point, I want to bring them to a charity shop. I then took that as inspiration to basically put them in bags, and you can get home collections. Basically, somebody comes by and picks up your items, so just look through, making sure they're all good to be donated. And I did that, and it created a bit more space, which is really, really lovely. And those were all the tasks. This was the entire week. Let's pick a card. I think this is one. Clear, cancel, and release. And I think this other one wanted to come out as well, which is yes. So yeah, if you had a question in mind and it's a yes or no question, then I think there's an answer for you. And the clear, cancel, and release card is basically when any kind of thoughts or feeling come up that are not helping you or that you want to move on from, to just, say a clear, cancel, and release it. That is everything I have for you this week, and next week is week 5, and that is all about recovering a sense of possibility, which sounds really exciting. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to you about that, and thank you again for spending time with me, and have a wonderful day. Bye!